This recording is going to demonstrate how you can export from the Ultra Librarian into the Expedition software. Now we're going to be using an older version of Expedition because Expedition now, the current versions of Expedition now require that you have a compression and decompression license for their ASCII or HKP format. So in order to do this demo without the license, I'm going to be using an older tool. A newer tool follows the exact same process, with the exception that you have to have the compression and decompression license to do this task. Now to start with, you'll notice that I have created a path for my data, or my library, to fall into, and this is the path that we had exported from the Accelerated Designs Ultra Librarian. I've loaded the library manager from the icon that we have here for Expedition. So the first step that you have is to create a library, and I'm going to create a new library, and I actually have run through this before so it knows that I'm in the correct directory. I'll say OK, and it creates a blank library for us to work with. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Setup, and I'm going to go to Petition Editor, and for each of the segments we're going to work with, we're going to add a partition. Now this isn't required in this version of software, but it will be required in some of the newer software. I'm just going to take the default partition of new for each of these. Alright, so now our library is set up to import. We're going to go to Tools, Library Services. It brings up a screen very much like this in all the versions we've used, except the name ASCII file is a little bit different in some of the newer versions. We usually start with pad stacks. We tell it we're going to import an ASCII file. We go find that ASCII file. In this case, right here. And you notice it ends with a HKP. We'll select that, and it loads all of the pad stacks that it found on the left side. We move it to the right side, and we hit apply, and that, by turning it blue, that tells us that it's in the library now. We're going to go do the same thing with cells. So we're going to come to the cell. We're going to skip symbols because this is a DX Designer. If we were going to do a design capture, we would also import the symbols at this point, just like we did with the pad stacks. In this case, because it's DX Designer, we're going to go to cells, which is equivalent to our footprints. We're going to select an ASCII file. We're going to go collect the cells HKP. It takes it a moment. These are the cells that it found in our library, or our export, and you'll notice they're now in blue. Then we'll get the parts the same way. We'll select an ASCII file. We'll select the file portion, and they're blue now. Finally, to import our symbols, we'll go to File, Import Symbols, and you'll find these in this directory right here as DX Designer. You'll know that it's DX Designer file formats because they'll have numbers, .number, .1, .2, .3, so forth. We'll open those. It's going to take it a minute to copy them. And now you'll notice that if we go look at symbols in the new partition, we have those symbols showing up. If you look at cells, you'll see the footprint showing up. and you can look at parts, and you will see the part numbers and their associated symbols and cells. That's all there is to it. Obviously, if you have a newer version, you'll need that compression, decompression license, and there really isn't another step. You're going to go through the same exact process. I hope this helps you out. We look forward to seeing you in another video.